If there's ever been a time to play Cassidy, now is the time. And quite honestly, nothing has really changed in terms of buffs for Cassidy or nerfs. Basically, everything has changed in the meta that now Cassidy is not actually meta, but is more viable, right? So like, for example, Mei isn't really meta, but she's viable. So you guys kind of get the point here. So today we're going to be breaking it down from the perspective of Season 1 Rank 1 DPS Kragie. Once again, I've covered him a lot on my channel, so definitely do check him out on Twitch. He's honestly a great streamer. There's a lot to learn from his gameplay. And once again, before we continue on, make sure you guys do subscribe. Like I said, over 95% of you guys are not subscribed. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys do smash that subscribe button, because I upload daily content. And yeah, let's continue on with the video. And the first thing that I wanted to kind of talk about here in terms of Cassidy is that, generally speaking, you don't want to play Cassidy unless you have really good aim. And the reason being is, for example, other heroes like Ashe, you can kind of get away with your dynamite. Sojourn, you have your dash and rail to save you if you miss a few shots on your primary fire. With Cassidy, on the other hand, you don't have that much leeway and basically something to get away with. So if you're missing your shots, you're missing your damage. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know if you guys kind of understand in the comment section below. But in general, you want to make sure that you have really good aim before you play Cassidy, which is why someone like Kragie, this is not an issue. Someone like Wanted, or otherwise known as John from Twitch, if you guys do watch his streams, definitely do, because he's a great streamer, is good with Cassidy because he has good aim. Things like that you need to keep a lookout for. So I would say, generally speaking, stay away from Cassidy until you get your hit scan aim up and you up your game and you improve on aim labs, for example. Then you can jump on Cassidy. Now let's say you have good aim and you want to jump in the game and you want to play Cassidy. What matchups are you going to be good against? Honestly, any aerial hero. So what I noticed a lot in my games is when I would switch to Pharah, and my duo with me in the group is Mercy. We go Pharmacy, if you guys are not aware of the duo. Basically what the enemy team will do is they'll switch automatically to a Cassidy. And now, why couldn't they just switch to Soldier? Because you provide healing for your team and you're like an extra support. The reason being is because Cassidy is actually super good at shutting down aerial heroes. This is, for example, Pharah or Echo, etc. Because you are able to land very crisp shots and there's a lot of consistency in your shots. Soldier, on the other hand, if you're missing your rails, you're not going to be doing that much damage with your primary fire. Ashe can also be a bit tricky to track, but she's also very good against aerial heroes. So in general, it's very, very good and effective against Pharah and Echo. Now, your ult, right? So what is it good? How is it good for? There's honestly different perspectives to look at this from. One way is you can do damage. Once again, in my opinion, a lot of people can agree with this. High Noon is not a good ult. It just honestly does not do that much damage, and because for good reasons, it quite honestly is pretty weak. And there's a very keen note that you hear it when it's going on, and honestly, the enemy team can just always expect it. But what is it actually good for? It's good for stalling and buying time. Let's say you're alive with one of your supports versus 3 enemy teammates, right? So 2 of them have died because, once again, it's a 5v5. What you can do is you can pop your High Noon, which causes the enemy team to push back. Now, don't try to pop it if you're very sure it's not going to kill someone, right? Hold on to it for as long as you can, which is, I think, around 7 or 8 seconds, correct me if I'm wrong. But you can hold on to it and you can delay install so the enemy team won't push up, because no one's going to peek when a Cassidy has his High Noon out unless you're an Orisa or a Hog or someone really tanky that knows they'll survive the shot, right? So definitely do keep these things in mind, because High Noon, I think, is misused by a lot of Cassidy non-mains. I think Cassidy mains know what it's good for, but you can always just get in, slide in with your shift, get a cheeky kill, and use a High Noon to take a pick. But honestly speaking, if you're stalling, that's probably the best value you'll get out of it. Next up, as we expected here, Kragie, and some of the clips he's making you guys have seen previously and you're about to see in a few moments, is his right click capability. Now, right clicking with Cassidy is very tricky, and you kind of have to understand, basically it depends how good you are. Honestly, like, it just boils down to how good you are. And in general, it's honestly extremely luck based. It's not a consistent hit. For example, rail with Sojourn is consistent, right? As long as you have good aim and you know what you're doing, you'll be consistently basically one-tapping people. With Cassidy's right click, it's honestly pretty like luck based, if that makes sense. What you want to do is, first of all, use it when the enemy team is like literally on your screen. That's the best way to put it, right? Another way to use it is if critical on your team, which a lot of people run Cassidy with critical, has her ult up, you would slide into the ult, spam right click reload, spam right click reload, because in general, like, the enemy team is going to be right on you because there's so much going on with the critical ult going down. Your enemy team basically trying to counter your ult, so they slap down their critical, and Reaper's going in with his Death Blossom. As long as you're alive and you have a Suzu up or something to protect you, go in there, slide, get in their face, right click reload, right click reload. Don't even try to left click. And that might sound crazy, but trust me, you'll burst down the enemy team so fast, before you even realize it, they're all dead, because right click actually does a lot of damage. Now let's say you go in there, you right click, spam on the enemy tank, you slide, you spam again on the enemy tank, you slide. The third time, that tank is probably gonna die because your teammates are also doing damage. Then you can get out of the ult and do your left click. So the critical ult basically is a perfect combo for Cassidy just to beat Cassidy, not your ult. So typically speaking, what I've said about Kiriko is that her ult is good for comboing with other ults. When it comes to Cassidy, she's honestly very good at just being there for the Cassidy, right? So once again, definitely do keep that in mind. And honestly, right click is good maybe if you get flanked by a Genji, something up close. Other than that, I wouldn't really rely on it too much. It's not consistent. One time you might get a nice clip, the other time you might miss completely and just whiff. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. And last but not least, that's pretty much going to cover everything you need to know about the movement, what Kragie is doing correct. I mean, honestly, besides having completely insane game sense and aim, there's really not much to cover, right? So like, there's not much for me to give you guys in terms of tips. Once again, Cassidy is very mechanically heavy, meaning you can't really get that much value unless you have good aim. So it's not hard to play Cassidy by any means, right? Like, it's pretty easy. You just kind of walk around and click. But unless you can't click people and land those shots, you're not going to be getting that much value. Where like with other heroes, you can actually get away with a lot if you're bad mechanically because of the kit, right? There's just so much to use that doesn't really rely on aim, if that makes sense. Now, what I want to talk about is pretty much for the buffs for Cassidy. Now, my opinion is Cassidy is in this weird spot where he's not meta, but he's not bad either. Like, he's not extremely bad. Now, I'm guilty of this, right? In my tier list, if you guys haven't seen it, make sure you guys watch it. That was a very fun tier list to make for sure. And there's a lot of funny content in it in general. What I did is rank Cassidy pretty much D tier, right? The reason being is because just in the average player experience, you're not going to be getting that much value out of Cassidy compared to like Sojourn or Tracer or Reaper. Honestly, some of the craziest DPS in the game right now. The reason being is because with a buff, in my opinion, Cassidy is going to be completely insane. Now, Blizzard can go in and they can give him a slight buff, maybe even give him a stun back just like in Overwatch 1, but we know how crazy that is. That just makes Cassidy insane. Because here's the problem. Any player who's in top 500 who has good aim with a buffed Cassidy, we might see even a Sojourn 2.0 episode from Season 1 in Overwatch 2. So, to prevent that from happening, I don't think Blizzard is going to drop in with a buff for Cassidy. Just because they honestly don't want to have a DPS issue. Because DPS is very tricky to balance. With the slightest change, you might end up making the hero absolutely broken. But definitely do let me know what you guys think and what you guys want to see changing Cassidy. If you guys agree or not, or if you guys have any extra tips, definitely do drop it in the comment section. I'm sure other people benefit from it. As always, if you guys enjoyed, definitely do consider subscribing. Because honestly, making all this content for you guys is amazing. And we're so close to 2.6k subscribers, which is honestly insane. I don't know if we reach it by the time I upload this video or not. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support, because honestly, it means the world to me. And expect more variety of content in the future. I'm thinking of maybe doing even other games, or even doing other accounts, or unranked to GM. So I have a lot of stuff in the works. If you guys do want to see that, definitely do stick around, because I think the content is going to get a lot more exciting. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy the holidays as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and peace.